On this day, March the 2nd, the year 672, St. Chad died. We celebrate him in this Archdiocese of Birmingham as his patron. 672, the Dark Ages, so-called, Anglo-Saxon England. Christianity starting to take shape. The saint we honor, we celebrate today, I think stands out. His holiness takes two particular forms, really: his humility and his apostolic zeal. The humility was partly an interior virtue, but it also showed itself, chiefly in his attachment to the monastic, hidden way of life. In fact, he begins life as a monk at Lastingham in Yorkshire. Then he is consecrated bishop of the Northumbrians. But the complications, because York already has a bishop. And so the complications in law worked out that the Archbishop of Canterbury deposed Chad because the election had been irregular. Now, you may remember some years ago, in one of the US presidential elections, it all turned on Chads. Now, a Chad is a mysterious word, comes into English in about 1950. No one's quite sure why. What it means is, if you get a card and you punch a hole in it, the little bit of paper, which was where the hole now is a Chad. Hence the discussions in the United States presidential election on full and empty Chads. Wits at the time said, perhaps St. Chad should have been the patron of botched elections, because that's what happened to him. His election as bishop was botched, and he was deposed. He, of course, went back to the hidden life in his monastery at Lastingham. But that kind of humility was noticed in high places. And sure enough, he was then made bishop, not of the Northumbrians as he'd been, but of the Mercians. Now, Mercia was a huge chunk of England, coast to coast, a huge chunk of the Midlands. And he was made bishop. And eventually his see was at Lichfield. All the time, he tried to live as a monk with a small group of monks, simultaneously acting as a dutiful, caring bishop, helping to form a Christian people in this large chunk of England. It seems that because of the plague, a recurring phenomenon, sadly, in our history, he died. But what impressed the Venerable Bede, who wrote about all this, was almost the manner of his acceptance of a death he knew was coming, rather than his achievements as bishop, as abbot, as establisher of monasteries. And after his death, almost immediately, strong devotion arose and cult at his tomb, particularly to seek his intercession for healing. So we in the Archdiocese of Birmingham, and more widely, celebrate Saint Chad as simultaneously a man of a hidden life, a life of prayer and study of the scriptures and common life with a few monks, and a public figure known to kings and the Archbishop. Humility and zeal